Before gold glittered, before oil flowed, there was a quiet white crystal that shaped borders, built armies, fed nations, and sparked revolutions. Salt. A substance so ordinary today that we barely notice it, yet for most of human history, it was priceless. Tonight we drift through time to trace how this simple mineral forged empires. Salt has followed humanity since the first coastal hunters dried their meat along the shore. Long before coins existed, salt was traded in lumps, bricks, and tiny woven bags from Africa to China. Imagine walking through a Neolithic market, pottery, stone tools, and a block of salt sitting like treasure. It wasn't luxury, it was survival. Salt preserved food in winter, kept armies fed on long marches, and allowed entire societies to store calories long before refrigeration. From the Andes to the Sahara, early civilizations formed around salt sources like they did around rivers. Whoever controlled the salt controlled life itself. Salt didn't just sustain individuals, it sustained empires. In ancient China, state monopolies on salt funded armies and massive infrastructure projects. The Han dynasty's salt tax alone financed its expansion into Central Asia. Across the world, Rome built roads, not for glory, but to move salt. Soldiers received portions of salt as payment, the origin of the word salary. Imagine a Roman caravan creaking across dusty roads, wagons loaded with the empire's white treasure. Egyptian priests demanded salt for preserving bodies during mummification, while Greek city-states fought over access to salt pans. Where today we see deserts and marshes, ancient rulers saw strategic assets. Picture the Sahara at dawn, the air cool, the sand untouched. A long line of camels appears, each carrying 2 slabs of salt. These caravans traveled more than 1,000 kilometers from the salt mines of Taoudeni to the markets of Timbuktu. Salt outweighed gold in value. Merchants traded it ounce for ounce with West African gold, turning desert trails into arteries of wealth. In Venice, shimmering salt flats empowered a maritime empire. The city's staggering wealth came not just from spices, but from its perfect mastery of salt production, distribution, and taxation. Across continents, salt roads became the quiet superhighways that connected civilizations. The more valuable a resource becomes, the more tightly rulers cling to it. But salt has a long history of rebellion. In France, the hated gabelle, a brutal salt tax, sparked riots for centuries. Peasants smuggled salt under clothing, in food barrels, even sewn into coats. The resentment helped fuel the French Revolution. Centuries later, on the shores of colonial India, Mahatma Gandhi walked toward the sea and bent down to pick up a handful of salt. That simple act broke British law and ignited a movement that challenged the world's largest empire. Salt became a symbol of dignity, autonomy, and resistance. As industrialization spread, salt lost its aura of sacred scarcity. Railways moved it cheaply. Ammonia disclosure reduced dependence on preserved foods. Chemical factories produced salt by the tons for glass, textiles, explosives, and metalwork. Salt was no longer white gold, it was industry fuel. Yet the world still consumes more than 250 million tons yearly. From winter roads to water treatment plants, Salt remains one of the most essential materials in modern civilization, just not one we think about. And so, salt transitioned from a treasure to a tool. History often hides in the ordinary. Salt, so small and simple, shaped everything from trade to war, from diet to diplomacy. If you trace the world's great roads, ports, and even revolutions, you'll find salt lingering at the edges. Quiet, persistent, essential. Tonight, as you rest, imagine the silent caravans crossing deserts, the Roman soldiers marching for their ration, the roaring crowds of revolution, and Gandhi lifting a pinch of salt that echoed across the world. The mineral is common now, but its story remains extraordinary.